Welcome back to the Dinar Chronicle, your trusted source for real-time updates and expert insights on the global currency reset, revaluation developments, and all things related to the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong. If you've been following this journey with us, you already know the magnitude of what may be unfolding. And if you're joining us for the first time, you're here just in time, because all signs are pointing to tomorrow, July 22nd, 2025. Being one of the most significant days we've seen in this movement in over a decade. As of this hour, multiple high-level sources from both U.S. Treasury-adjacent contacts and key financial institutions in the Middle East and Southeast Asia are confirming that final preparations are underway. This includes synchronization of banking systems, rate adjustments appearing briefly on internal forex screens, and a temporary freeze on certain currency orders at regional central banks. These are not rumors. We've been tracking this pattern since late last week, and now with confirmations coming in from parallel sources, the timing seems to have converged. Let's start with Iraq. Over the weekend, multiple private Iraqi banking officials have been quoted, off the record, saying that instructions have already been issued from the Central Bank of Iraq to cease all large-volume IQD cash-outs until further notice. These directives are reportedly tied to what's being referred to internally as Rate Realignment Procedure 4A. That document, which has yet to be released to the public, allegedly outlines a phased integration of the new IQD rate, widely believed to be somewhere between $3.85 and $5.20 per US dollar, into international financial platforms. Parallel to this, several Tier 1 banks in the United States, including Wells Fargo and Bank of America, have updated their internal memos regarding foreign currency desk activities, specifically mentioning IQD handling blackout from July 22nd through July 26th. This is unprecedented. We've never seen synchronized, time-stamped lockdowns like this from multiple institutions unless an international rate adjustment was imminent. Adding fuel to the fire is the reemergence of chatter from prominent IQD commentators such as Frank26, Mark Z, and Militiaman, all of whom have hinted toward banking sources being called in for overtime starting this evening and running through the entire day tomorrow. None of these individuals are giving precise rate confirmations or timestamps, but the alignment across multiple voices cannot be ignored. Even conservative analysts who previously urged caution are now conceding that the evidence pointing to a major financial event tomorrow is overwhelming. Meanwhile, on the Vietnamese front, the picture is no less compelling. Late last night, officials in Hanoi reportedly held a closed-door session with representatives from HSBC, Standard Chartered, and the Bank for Investment and Development of Vietnam. While public transcripts were not released, two individuals familiar with the matter disclosed that the session revolved around foreign reserve restructuring and rate harmonization with trade partners. In plainer terms, that means the VND Vietnamese dong may be preparing to adjust its exchange rate in tandem with regional or global shifts. Some analysts speculate the VND could see a jump to 47 cents to 62 cents USD, with adjustments made under the guise of strengthening national exports while preserving internal liquidity. That's a massive leap from its historical low position, and not one that would be taken lightly. What gives this even more credibility is the World Bank's most recent Q3 report, which emphasized Vietnam's economic stability, positive trade balances, and growing gold reserves, classic precursors to currency revaluation. Again, none of this has been made public yet, but we've seen this pattern before. Now, let's turn to redemption centers. There has been a notable uptick in off-book activity at several known redemption facility locations. According to 3 independent contractors working in logistics and IT infrastructure, secure data lines and hardware refreshes have been completed at multiple sites throughout Texas, Florida, Nevada, and even parts of Europe. These locations are typically reserved for large-volume currency holders, or those participating in pre-authorized currency swaps under non-disclosure agreements. One source indicated that biometric verification systems were tested extensively throughout the weekend, another clear signal of impending high-level activity. We also have to acknowledge the timing. July 22nd falls on a Tuesday, a day traditionally favored by the IMF and World Bank for global rate movements. Historically, major financial shifts, especially those involving currency recalibrations, are implemented early in the week to allow a full trading cycle before the weekend. This gives global markets time to absorb volatility and stabilize before Monday trading resumes. Add to that the BRICS summit kicking off this Thursday in South Africa, and we may be witnessing a coordinated unveiling of monetary sovereignty across developing economies. Speaking of BRICS, we've been tracking increased communications between Iraqi and Vietnamese financial delegates and their BRICS counterparts, specifically Russia and China. Several analysts believe that the upcoming revaluation is not solely a Western banking event, but part of a larger pivot away from the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. In that scenario, a revaluation of the IQD and VND would serve as a catalyst to usher in a multipolar currency basket system, one in which regional powers gain more control over their economic fate, rather than being tied to Fed-driven policy from Washington. Let's not ignore the bond markets either. The U.S. Treasury yield curve saw unusual tightening on the long end late Friday, an indication that institutional investors are preparing for liquidity events. Simultaneously, gold and silver experienced small but sharp upward movements during the Asian trading window, another traditional signal that the smart money is hedging against rapid currency valuation changes. These kinds of preemptive moves don't happen in isolation. There's also a rising digital chatter among Tier 3 banks and forex trading forums, where users are now openly discussing rate testing patterns for the IQD and VND. Multiple screenshots have surfaced, although unverified, allegedly showing the IQD temporarily populating on trading platforms like Refinitiv and Bloomberg terminals with live rates in excess of $3.90. While many of these may be placeholders, the consistency across regions is hard to dismiss. Traders in London, Frankfurt, and Dubai are all reporting similar blips, what one senior analyst referred to as ghost rates. These are often precursors to rate activation. To be clear, we cannot guarantee that tomorrow will bring an official rate change for either currency. However, what we can confirm is that never before have we seen this level of cross-market alignment, institutional silence, and operational readiness within both public and private banking systems. Whether it's a staged release, a digital trial balloon, or the final countdown to the long-awaited global currency reset, everything points to tomorrow as a key turning point.